Okay, so our first thing that we're going to do is you're going to come to your project. And if you didn't add this with me in class, I know I forgot to do it in one class. We have 2 bits of code that we just needed to add in our footer. It's line 89 and 90, this input and this H4. So just make sure, I'm going to leave it on the screen for a second. If that's not in your HTML code, make sure you add it. Okay? Then today we're going to code our CSS, which is going to make our website look pretty. In order to do that, we don't want to mess with our HTML page. So I'm going to have you remix your project so that this project isn't affected. So we're going to go to remix. It's going to make a new copy of the same website we had. It's going to be called remix and our last name. Okay. And so we're going to work with this site instead of the original one. Okay, so we're going to flip over to the style.css. You should have this code that you copied. Okay, I'm going to leave a line between it. So mine takes up from line 1 through line 8. I'm going to leave a space just so we know that that's where our code was. And we're going to make this comment in here. Oop, backslash star end of given code. Okay, and then star asterisk, there we go. Okay, just so I know this is where my code is starting on line 11. Okay, and that comment just is for, that won't show up on your website. As you can see, it's just a comment in there telling me this is where we started. Okay, and we're going to start with our very first piece of CSS. Okay, in CSS, the first thing that you learned in the Ed puzzle was about selectors. So body is, I got to spell it right, body, and that's important that they're spelled just like your tags. This time they're not inside of tag symbols. They're set up like this. The word body, which is the name of the tag I want to address. The open bracket, which is right next to your P key, shift and the key next to your P. This is called the braces or the scroll bracket. The close one will be at the end of the section. So everything I want the body to have in it is going to go in this little section of code. Reminding myself what the body is, the body spans all the way from the top to the bottom of my website. So this is anything I want my whole website to do. Well, all we're going to do is give our body a background. Why am I typing that background? Messing up today. And we want to give it a background color. So we're going to come to our web store, the Chrome web store. Okay. And you're going to download an extension called ColorZilla. ColorZilla. It should be this one right here. Okay. You're going to add it to Chrome. Mine says remove because I already have it. Once you add it, you're going to come to the puzzle piece and you're going to push the little push pin beside it to put it up on your toolbar. Okay. What this does for me is comes up with code for different colors. So I can hit this, pick color from page. I can scroll anywhere on my website. Say I want this green color for my background. Click it. It's copied it. And all I have to do is hit Control V to paste that hex code right to my website so it matches. And I'm going to hit the semicolon. If you notice, this picture also in my pictures has some colors, but it's more accurate to do it the way we just did it with the ColorZilla app. Okay. That's the only thing I'm going to put in that section. So I'm going to hit enter and leave it. The next selector is the H1. So if we remember from our coding, the H1, if I go to my index again and figure out what my H1 had in it, that's my name right here. So I can highlight it. It'll tell me what's in my H1. Okay. So this is stuff that I'm going to do to my name. The first thing I'm going to do is the property. These green words are called properties, font size. Anytime a property is 2 words, there's a hyphen between it so that your computer connects the words. Also, if you click on it here in the predicted text from code.org, it'll put the semicolon or the colon there for you. And we're going to change it to 100 px. Px stands for pixels. You can also set measurements to picas, which is PC. You can see those are much bigger than pixels. And you can set it to percentages, which would be 100% of its size. Okay. We are going to set it to 100 px, which is pixels. Okay. Then we're going to come down and we're going to hit enter so that we remember end it in a semicolon after the value. Every time you enter a value, you also enter a semicolon. You come down to the next line to do the next property, text, and I'm going to choose text align. I want to center my name, so we're going to type center, and you can choose that too. And again, always remember to end in a semicolon. Those missing semicolons will end up creating problems for your website if you don't type them. Color, okay? And we're going to come again with our picker tool. And again, color pick from page. You're going to scroll somewhere on your page, of course. Oop, mine doesn't want to scroll. Oop. There you go. Color picker, Colorzilla. Find another color from your images. I'm going to use this orange color. And I don't want any of those colors. Control V to paste. Another hex code. I must have stopped on white, so I don't want white. I'm going to try color picker again. I probably got the white out of the orange by accident. I want the orange of the orange. My mouse is not working very well. Okay, and I'm going to paste that one instead. That's still not working. Yeah, Miss Watts. Pick from page. There it is. You can see it's up when it gets it goes up to the top. There we go. And a semicolon after to make sure we are there. Okay, and then enter to go to the next line. And the last one we're going to do is font family. So when we're talking about fonts, if you look at the font that your name is in right now, this is called a serif font. Okay, a serif font, if you notice, has these little feet on the end of each letter. You can see all the little feet. A sans serif font has no feet. So if I change it to a sans serif, which was in the list, sans serif, notice how the little feet on each letter disappear. That's sans serif. Again, serif, like it was, Times New Roman, is a serif font. It has these little feet on the end of each letter. A sans means without, so sans serif means without feet, okay? And so you get a font that doesn't have the feet on it. Our next selector that we're going to do is for our image. Okay. I'm going to open up the image, and then we're going to put a border radius. I want the edges of my image to be curved, so I'm going to put border radius. And again, you can set this value into pixels, picas, percents. We're going to do 25 picas, so it is PC. Notice what that does to your image. It makes it a complete circle, which is kind of nice looking. We're also going to put a border around this image. So we're going to put border. And we're going to do border is unique because it has 3. The unique fact about border is it has 3 property or values to it. We have to set what kind of border, so it's solid. It tells you what kind. You could do dash, dotted, etc. You have to tell me the thickness, so we are going to do a border that is 8 pixels thick. And then we're going to set the color of the border. Again, this one you can use your picker tool for. Pick another shade that you're going to use from one of your images that you have. I'm going to again use that. Okay, and come down, and I'm going to paste that hex code. That's what that's called, is a hex code. So for color, you can write the name of the color, which of course you don't have as many options because you can just type orange, teal, red, green. Or hex codes are these hashtagged numerical and alphanumerical codes. These are very specific to certain shades of color. One other factoid, when we were talking about fonts, the fonts that your computer recognizes, like Times New Roman, Arial, Helvetica, Comic Sans, those fonts are called web safe. Those are fonts where I could just type in the words Arial and it knows Arial. Okay. So that is a web safe font, one that you can just type in and your computer will know it. There are other fonts, if you want cooler fonts, that you have to insert into your website and embed them. And we'll learn how to do that in just a little bit. But fonts that naturally come to your computer are called web safe. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is we want this image centered. And normally, if I was just centering some text, I would do text align. But an image isn't text, so I can't center the image. I can't use text align image center. Okay, so the image happens to be, if you go look where this first image is, we put it in a container. It's in a div. So what you can do is, while you can't center the text, because it's not text to make the image move, you can center the whole container. So we're going to use text align on the container, and it's sort of a workaround for getting our image centered, because if I center the container, then everything in the container gets centered. So that image is centered. Okay. And then we're going to do one more section in this video. We're going to do our paragraph. P, open. Okay, that's our selector to select our paragraph. Font size. Again, as you start typing, it recognizes what you want. You can choose it from the menu and select it. And I want 25px. Okay, I'm going to set another property of color. This time I'm going to use color in a word form. We're going to choose ivory. Okay. And then I'm going to use font family again. And again, I'm going to choose, this time I'm going to choose Arial, which we said is a web safe font. It almost looks exactly like the sans serif font. So code.org's way of saying Arial is kind of saying sans serif. So we were just practicing using two different forms of web safe. You can text with code.org. You can just say sans serif and it will give you like an Arial font. Or I can type in Arial, which is web safe, and it will give me a web safe font. Okay, so that's two ways to do that. I'm going to stop this video here, and I will come back for our next piece of CSS.